we have a lot of organizations in Ghent, social organizations. We have a lot, and also I think there is a certain overall political climate in Ghent. It's very open, quite open, progressive, and willing to, a political culture that is willing to experiment.
Right.
These groups that organize themselves that ask questions and that keep on asking questions, and if you don't respond, they keep on.
They
set up actions, or I don't know what, and so you have this I think this stimulated the city to, and then of course you need at least a kind of mentality with city council or whatever, or in the administration to be willing to deal with that.
It has been a progressive city for for decades. Again, and a lot of people who live in Ghent are really willing to work on their city.
Yes.
Together with the government.
If for one reason or another the city of Ghent would decide we don't do participation anymore, that a lot of people who are involved now and are activated and see the benefits will organize this themselves.
Right.
So the reflex and the consciousness is there.
Ghent is well aware, or a lot of actors are well aware of the importance of citizens and participation and so on. Definitely some very powerful people, like the mayor. Ghent is different, and we really focus on citizens. And that's why initiatives such as Burger Budget, you can easily organize it here. Using the multi-level perspective, there is a landscape pressure from abroad, huge societal trends that this is important, and the regime within the city of Ghent is definitely influenced by the landscape, and more than other cities in the Flemish country.
What we do, Citizen Lab, we are using crowdsourcing to actually get the input of citizens in decision making, so to actually involve people in local decision making process, policy making processes, and we are doing that today in about 65 cities all over the world. In Belgium, I think about 40 or something. Wow. Citizens can have a say both top down, bottom up. So on the one hand, top down, they can be involved in projects and have the say on whether it's about the construction of a local park, whether it's about a new mobility plan or whatever. The bottom part is that they can put their own priorities on the table, make their voice heard, and then expect feedback on their input from the government.
If you look at, for instance, what TimeLab is doing or what NerdLab is doing, then they are busy with technology, but technology that's easy accessible. For instance, the Adam project is working with low-cost sensors that you can build. And they have their free models of it that you can attach to your bike and then go around in the city, and that you have the results of your...
You have to fly over in Ghent, this big road infrastructure to the Z, to the old library, and there's a whole thinking going on, okay, how can we get rid of it, actually? And so there's that whole tragic of participation is actually quite interesting, because she explained what steps they're going to take to involve as much as citizens possible, and I was quite impressed, actually. So they really, it's not as if they're going door by door,
no, of course.
But still they putting a lot of effort into it. So you really feel, okay, they want to take the citizens
into account.
Is it really seriously?
No, the basic premise is that we're a people-oriented city. And we tend to choose technology to reach the goals and the ambitions that we set out, because we don't want flashy technology. We want people to thrive here.
Right.
And technology is an instrument, right?
I think the two are reinforcing each other, but it will have to be then accessible technology, technology that you can use as a non-technological person as well.
Not only this is the air quality, or this is where cyclists prefer to ride, but as well on opinions and stuff like that. You know, technology can make it easier to gather more information about what people think.
Are there groups that we can't reach because they work all day, that we can't reach offline, or who are not interested in working together with other people and who want to do their say in a more individual way? Then we develop a digital tool.
Technology can help if you use it in the right way. And I think it's a bit more time efficient when you use the technology in a good way. So I think it will prevent people from stepping out of the participation process.
In terms of what I called before the tool for communication or for showing the process, if we have that, you could easily start participation processes site-specific. For example, imagine that I want to do something in the Stadshal. I can access all these layers. I understand the place much better.
Of course.
And then I could also see the relevance of my contribution to that small part. It makes you really more humble also as a person towards all the layers that are already there. Or you can, for example, also try to hack one of the layers because you are not accepting that part. And so you can have more dialogue and interaction with your physical space as a city.
There is an incredible risk that it produces form of governance that reinforce sort of power knowledge combinations, biopolitical logics that are already there, and that even make them deeper ingrained, so to speak, in terms of how these realities actually exist, because they will exist in a manner that can even be less contested than they are now.
Yeah, we have to be aware of the fact that we are a government.
Yeah.
And by developing certain digital tools, people expect a certain reaction. They expect that it goes fast, that they have a fast answer, and we have to be fair about the way a government works and what is our focus and our mission, our vision.
Possibilities as well.
And sometimes I see this like you have the government and then you have the digital story, and we have to be. The gap can't be bigger than it is today, because then you have the look and feel of a certain project and reality. And on the other hand, we, from our starting point, and we already did it in the beginning, and in the beginning we had a lot of critics on it. We said we don't do online without offline.
Okay.
We combine it always.
So I'm not entirely pessimistic. I do think it also has room for re-articulating some of the ways in which things are institutionalized and are administered today, But the whole question of whether this will also include some level empowerment and greater involvement or co-involvement of the user end, so to speak, where that user is sometimes also a political subject and not only a consumer.
Yeah.
There's of course a whole discussion on what this participation is for, no, and to what extent it's participation. And some of these things are very active forms of participation, and others are trying to really early on in the process trying to involve partners and build also partnerships. And others are, I would say, fairly symbolic exercises that are tangential to very complex policy making processes in which I don't know where I find some of these participative exercises quite obligatory, so to speak.
There's clearly a move towards more and more transparency, and for a good reason, I think. In order to create legitimacy for your decision making, you need to be open, you need to be transparent. The participation, an important dimension of it is information, so that's where it starts. In order for people to be able to give a valuable contribution, they need to be able to inform themselves. So I think that is also definitely one of the first steps that we need to take, make data easily readable, easily understandable, and from there make people participate.
Okay.
I think we will evolve more and more into like a broker or like a facilitator, and we, as a city, I think that's an important role, and that role will grow and make connections between stakeholders and get them to sit around the table and work something out.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, we have a very large responsibility as a local government to make sure that no one's left behind. Because
how much time do you allow for participation processes to run before you make a decision? We notice that for really complex matters, this will put everything on a very long timeline, which is not always the right thing to do, because sometimes you need to decide and you need to act.
Our starting point is a society that is very much alienated from political processes. They feel like citizens versus politics, and these participatory platforms like crowdsourcing are a first step towards a more coherent way of thinking. But to be truly successful, we need kind of a common culture, common idea. We have to think not as we versus them, but we have to think as we, both politicians, both public administration and citizens.